Hey, what's up? It's Lewis, and in this video I'm gonna be going over what I learned from the Millionaire Fastlane. And man, what I learned from that was like so much that it's not going to encompass everything, but I did write a few things down and I want to share that with you right now. So the first thing that you gotta learn, all right, let me just preface here. The Millionaire Fastlane is a book, okay? It's written by MJ Demarco. He actually made multiple millions of dollars, you know, not by actually selling books on how to get rich or anything like that, but he made it in actual business, which is really, really cool, because a lot of these books, they tell you how to get rich, but they got rich telling you how to get rich. They didn't actually get rich, you know, by actually like making a business and doing stuff like that. So MJ Demarco and the Millionaire Fastlane is legit. It's pretty cool, and I wrote a few things down, so I'm just gonna go over it. All right, firstly, society does not have your best interest in mind, okay? Understand this. Your parents, your friends, the government, TV, social media, and all of the other, you know, constructs of life, they are conditioning us, and they are conditioning us wrongly, all right? Not only are they wrong, but they're subject to a life, you know, they subject you to a life of mediocrity, all right? They drag you away from a life of fulfillment, and if you want to live the good life, and if you want to break free from the matrix that is normal, you know, quote unquote normal society, you have to break free of social conditioning and the way people and your parents and your friends and the TV and Facebook and all of these other things tell you, you know, tell you to do what they tell you to do. So most people, all right, most people, they think of wealth generation as, you know, completely wrong. They're completely wrong in the way they think about wealth generation. They think that they look at wealth as, you know, a meal. Say they think of it as a meal. Yes, the meal at a 5-star restaurant, it tastes delicious, but the meal cannot have been made without the process of cooking, okay? It's the marinating, it's the sauteing, it's the baking, it's all of the other processes that go into the creating the meal that allows it to actually be. So wealth is a process, all right? It's not an event. Wealth is not a check the size of your front door that just gets handed to you, okay? It's not some lucky lottery numbers. It's not a ticket. Wealth is a process, and getting wealthy is a process. Processes make millions, okay? Any event you see and you hear about, they are the results of the trial, the risk, the hard work, the struggle, and the sacrifice that is the process. So understand that. The thing to realize is that everyone goes through a process, okay? If you're poor, you're living through a poor process. If you're living a life of mediocrity, you're going through a normal process, and you're taking the fast lane to wealth, then you're going through a wealthy process, okay? It depends whatever process you're going through. So whatever process you choose to go down ultimately is a product of your belief system. So, I mean, if you believe that you can't get wealthy or make hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, you're not going to follow the process to achieve that, all right? On the flip side, if you truly believe that you are worthy and you're worth millions of dollars and that you could create it, all right, you will seek out the wisdom and you'll follow the process to get there, all right? You'll read the books, you'll do all that shit. Think about your perception of life, all right? Think about your perception of life and responsibility and to time and money. And think about this. Poor people, they have a completely different perception of things than rich people, usually for the most part. Like, along with thinking of your perceptions of time and money, all right? You gotta think of your perception of rich people in general, all right? So it's like this. If you think that all rich people are liars and crooks or crony capitalisms or whatever, then you're not gonna become that, because it goes against your internal belief system and what's right. But if you look at being wealthy as providing a ton of value, helping to support, you know, a shit ton of people, then man, doesn't that change your perspective so much? Like, you'll be drawn to that. So everything in life is subject to whatever you want to perceive it, you know, however you want to perceive whatever it is that you're looking at in life. It's up to you to perceive it in the way that will, you know, be beneficial to you and help mankind and be beneficial to everyone, really, to the world. So if you want to change your situation, all right, whether that be your health, whether that be your wealth, you gotta change your belief system and everything will follow. And for instance, I did this exact same thing when I changed my belief system using neuro-linguistic programming, which is what Tony Robbins actually got into originally and what helped him make millions of dollars and all of that other good stuff. And thinking about this topic, we should really reinvent like what our definition of wealth should be to begin with, all right? It shouldn't be fancy cars or big houses or any of those types of, you know, materialistic stuff. Yeah, that does give, you know, instant gratification, but it doesn't give true happiness. And this is huge, all right? True wealth, it's really a piece of happiness. True wealth is mind, it's body, it's good relationships with friends, it's family, freedom, and most importantly, it's your health, which is obviously why I'm so into health, because when I did not have my health, that is the only thing that I fucking worried about. And the man who has his health has 1,000 dreams, but a man without his health has but one, all right? And that is so true. And I think that we also have to think of freedom and put freedom into that health and wealth equation, because like if you're slaving away at a job, even if you have your own business, but you're slaving away for, you know, 10, 15 hours a day and you don't enjoy the process, you know, like Gary Vaynerchuk, for instance, he's fucking hustles his ass off and he is always working, but he loves the process. That's what he loves to do. Like, and if you're going to make your own business, if you're going to like try to really create something for yourself, you're going to have to hustle. So you're going to have to love it, whatever you do. And if you have, you know, doubt, if you're not really in the game, then it's gonna be really hard to, you know, stick with it and put the hours in. And that's another reason why Organic Life Body Transformation Health, the thing that I'm putting together, lewisraskin.com, all that stuff, is going to be awesome because I'm really enjoying it. So talking about your health, all right, look, your health is hands down the most important thing that you could have. That's why it's so important to eat healthy. That's why it's so important to move your body. That's why it's so important to get rest and to do all the other things that help build and maintain good health. And then after you have your health comes relationships and freedom. These are the other two most important things that you could really do. So once you have your health, instead of seeking out things like material things, seek out things like relationships and freedom, because those are way more important than material things, and they will lead ultimately to more happiness, which obviously is what we're all looking for anyway. So obviously, still make it your intent to make lots of money, but use the money to provide you with more things that will provide you with more true wealth. So use that money to provide you with time, you know, and freedom that will let you spend it on stuff like your physical health or your relationships and things that like really matter. And understand that freedom is probably one of the biggest components within the picture of wealth, because freedom allows you to spend more time, which is your most valuable asset, on your physical health and your relationships. So the fact is that there are, you know, a lot of well-paid businessmen who are not happy, and there's a lot of people without that much money who are happy, and it almost always has to come down to their freedom, okay? So use the money you earn to build a life that gives you more freedom. So check this out. If you trade 5 days a week, slaving over something you don't love in exchange for 2 days a week of freedom, that seems like a pretty big ripoff to me, all right? Why not make it 7 days of freedom working for something that you love to do and have 0 slave days? Yeah, not every day is gonna be great, but that doesn't mean that your overall ratio of slave days to freedom days is gonna be more in your favor, all right? You could live a normal life and condemn yourself to mediocrity, slowly saving up over 40 years in hopes that there won't be another crash in the housing or stock market, and then with the goal of, you know, retiring when you're old, only to live out the rest of your life without much purpose, probably watching some Game of Thrones reruns or 2.5 Men. Or you could put everything you have into a business and passion where even if you fail, you'll still be filled, you know, with happiness knowing that at least you went for it. And like, that's the situation I'm in right now. And when I think of a job, you know, I think of the acronym just over broke. I mean, sure, you could drop 120K for 8 years of college and you get a better job and make 70 to 100K a year, you know, maybe 120K, something like that. But, you know, at what cost? And what will be the lingering cloud of student loans that you do? You know, what will that do to your psyche, you know? Okay, and this is another like really big thing that I wanted to say. Just because you see people in like fancy housing, driving fancy cars, that doesn't mean that they're wealthy, okay? Leasing a $50,000, you know, Mustang when you're making $40,000 a year, that's not true wealth, okay? That doesn't make you wealthy. It makes you, you know, sort of financially irresponsible, to be honest. Get to the point where you could walk into the dealership and buy the car flat out, you know. That's when you'll be truly financially wealthy. So by keeping a job, it's most likely that you won't really ever be able to accomplish such a like amazing thing of just being able to go in and buy a car. And this is simply like what I was getting from the Millionaire Fastlane and from the book. You like, if you have a job or whatever and you love it, like, and you're not looking to make a lot of money, like, that's totally cool. You don't have to, you know, as long as you're happy. That's really the only important thing, you know. The most important thing in life is if you're actually happy. But this is simply like what I learned from the Millionaire Fastlane, and it sort of like pumped me up. So that's why I'm making, you know, a video on this. And the reason why I'm sort of like pumped up on this is because I was basically like following the same narrative that like everyone follows, and I didn't even know that there's this other fast lane highway. And so I want to go over that narrative right now, okay? So the normal narrative is like this: 1, get a good paying job. 2, save money. 3, live frugal. 4, invest in the stock market. And then 5, repeat for 40 years. All right, sure, you could live a normal life by doing this, but like, why settle for normal? That's what I'm saying. Like, why settle for mediocrity? Yeah, in a job you don't like or just, you know, complacent with, you sell your freedom in the form of time for freedom in the form of money. So the problem with like getting rich from a job is that there's no control and there's no leverage. Like, you can't control how much you make, and you can't control, you know, leverage, you know, your business to provide you with substantially more money. So even if you make $500 an hour, and this is the thing that I was doing, I was looking at all of these functional health practitioners who are making $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour, even some up to $2,000 an hour. And I was like, shit, if I can make that, that'd be freaking awesome. So I did the training, I spent thousands of dollars on the courses, I spent thousands of dollars on the supplements, and I did all the functional health stuff, and I'm still working, you know, with that functional health stuff, and I'm so much better. And the thing is, now that I actually have my health because of this functional health, because of everything that I put into it, like, I actually feel like I can accomplish like huge ridiculous things now, which is awesome. But the thing is, even if I was making $500 an hour or $1,000 an hour, like, my income would still be predicated on time. And there's only 24 hours in a day, and you can't control that, you know? And I don't want to be working like that many hours. I like, you know, I normally work 5 to 12 hours a day max. And I see this over and over and over again with the people who want to be high achievers, you know, like myself, especially when they get into a business that trades time for money, is that they burn themselves out. And I really don't want to burn myself out, you know, working, you know, 12 hours a day. And I wouldn't be able to provide, you know, the type of service for the people if it's just me, you know. I'm going to still do functional health practitioner. I'm still going to be offering my services and stuff like that. I'm just gonna cut way down because like, I know how to do it. I'm pretty good at it. I understand. I have like protocols and things like that I've created throughout the years, but I really don't want to sacrifice my health for my wealth. And just as I explained in my other video, you know, your health has so much to do with your lifestyle, and it's like what you surround yourself with. So you really want to surround yourself with like the things and the type of lifestyle that you're most about, because that will, you know, bring you more happiness, and then that will bring you more, you know, health and increase your health. So here's something really crazy I learned from the book, all right? So I used to think that having a job plus investing my money and using compounding interest would make me wealthy, right? But I would think that investing $10,000, you know, at a rate of growth, something like 15% or something like that, so that over 40 years, it would come out to be like $2.5 million if you type in all the numbers. But what I learned from MJ is that there's so many things that these marketing gurus don't even tell you about investing, okay? So like things like having a 15% on your return year after year, it's pretty much impossible unless you invest with someone like Bernie Madoff or, you know, or Charles Ponzi. So they don't tell you that in 40 years, $2.5 million is likely gonna be worth $250,000 in today's dollars, and that a gallon of milk is gonna cost 12 bucks, you know? They don't tell you that this method of wealth acceleration is not what they used, and yet you're supposed to believe it without question, but this is actually what society tells you, okay? So honestly, having things like investments and using compounding interest and maxing out your 401k and all these other things, they're important, all right? Definitely do them, but don't expect to be ultra wealthy or make millions of dollars and have no worries about money if this is, you know, your only strategy to wealth. Let's assume that you save 5% of your salary and your investments, you know, did 8% over, you know, per year. If your salary is $150,000 per year and you save 5%, and get, you know, 8% back on your investments, then it'll take 40 years to reach about $2 million. I know that's a lot of numbers and a bunch of other shit, but just understand it's gonna take a long ass time to reach $2 million. All right, but the point is that in those 40 years, that $2 million will be worth less than half of what it is right now. So 40 years ago, a car was worth $3 grand and a sandwich was $1, all right? How much will things be worth and cost in the future, all right? So I don't wanna wait until I'm 65 to live the type of life that, you know, I wanna live. And the thing is with YouTube, with the internet, it's so possible. I think like 10 years ago, it was do what you love and be broke, or like do what you hate and make money. But now it's like do what you love and make more money than like you'd ever imagine because of the so many things that are going into that, like community and on getting like real relationships through Snapchat and through Instagram and through YouTube and stuff like that. So that is 100% what I'm doing. So how do you actually live the good life? Well, it has to come down to your belief system, okay? It has to come down to your belief system and your perceptions of what you value and other aspects of life. So let me explain. So let's go into some examples about the different perceptions and belief systems that the rich have versus what the poor have. All right, the first example is this. Most people's perceptions is that they avoid debt at all costs, right? This is not the perception of the rich. They believe that debt is useful if it allows them, you know, to build and grow their systems, you know? Almost every single ultra successful person and ultra successful entrepreneur that I could think of has been in debt at least a little bit because they financed and bootstrapped their businesses. So another interesting fact though is that the average multimillionaire or millionaire loses and gains his fortune about 3 times throughout his or her life. So that's another really interesting fact. So the other thing is that most people think that money is the most important and most valuable asset. All right, this is another really big false belief. Time, not money, but time is the most important asset that you have, and it far exceeds how important money is, all right? Another thing, number 3, third belief system, different from the rich versus the poor, is that a lot of people think that their education stops at college, all right? The moment you stop learning is the moment that you stop growing, all right? Constant expression of your knowledge and awareness is critical to your journey. So probably those were 3 right there. This is probably the most biggest one that I had to overcome and that I see so many people having to actually overcome, okay? It's literally the money perception. This is huge. So it wasn't until my mentor actually told me to think of money as the ocean and that, you know, you're like a boat in the ocean. It's literally everywhere. All you have to do is provide enough value to the world so that you can take your bucket and just start dipping it into the ocean and bringing it on board, you know? If you're living in a scarcity mindset though, that is the reality that you will create for yourself. So if you're living in an abundance mindset, you'll definitely be able to create whatever you want, or at least have the chance to be able to create whatever you want. Sometimes the world works in crazy ways and it doesn't work out, but if you don't at least have the belief system, you know, inside that it will work and coming from that place of abundance, then you probably have no chance. So you really have to think about your perception of money. And as you could see, the belief system of the perception of the ultra wealthy, it's so different than the belief and perceptions of the average person. Like, if it's your belief system that creates your reality. If you look at a Lamborghini and you say, I will never be able to afford that, you never will, all right? If you look at a Lambo and say, I'm going to be able to afford that, you at least give yourself a chance. So give yourself a chance, you know, you're awesome. Have the belief system within yourself and the self-esteem to be able to believe that you could achieve great things, because that is really like the core fundamental thing that most people don't even have. Is like the belief in themselves, which is so important. And ultimately, what you want to do is you want to become a producer first and a consumer second, all right? This is how you basically build wealth. Instead of buying things, sell them, all right? Instead of digging for gold, sell shovels, you know? Instead of taking a class, offer a class, you know? Instead of taking a job, hire for jobs. So stop being a consumer who thinks he's entitled to things and switch over to being a producer who provides value to the world. So be a producer and save the money that you produce until you can invest it into more things, you know, such as back into your business and other sources that give you compounding interest, and then you could become wealthy. So the important distinction is that you aren't becoming wealthy through your savings or even through your market investments, all right? You become wealthy through the value that you created from your business, and then you use that money to invest and create more passive sources of income. So most people, they have it backwards. They think that they'll save up money from their job and then they'll invest it, and then 50 years down the road, they'll bank. Instead, think of how you could bank in 5 or 10 years, all right, and then use that money to live the easy life for the next 40. So personally, I think that you should save and you should invest constantly, and while at the same time, you know, working in the frame of bank in 10 years mindset. So while you're making money, you can invest in different things, but I understand that your investments, they probably aren't going to be a major source of income until you start investing really large sums of money, you know, like $100,000 or something. So you could get a substantial amount back on the 5% interest that, you know, is average when you actually invest in things that aren't going to totally tank. So along with shifting your thoughts, all right, on saving and investing, you need to change your thoughts on time. And this is so freaking big. So time is the king of all assets. Time is scarce, all right? Money is abundant. Time is scarce. Rich people, they value their time more than anything else, even more than money. This is because their time is finite while their money is infinite. So if time is scarce and money is abundant, and you want to be rich and financially secure without having to trade 10 hours or 15 hours of your day for money, or 5 days out of the week for 2, you need to think about how you could use these laws of business to your advantage. So create something that serves needs, all right? Create something that ultimately leads to passive income by helping other people and providing a lot of value. So think about what you're doing, and if you really want to make extraordinary sums of money, if your goal is to make really large sums of money, evaluate the road that you're taking, all right? Evaluate the road that you're on right now and determine if it can eventually lead you to the financial destination that you want. Is your business plan scalable? Does it serve enough people? Does it serve enough people's needs in order to be profitable? You know, probably the most important thing that MJ Demarco actually talks about in his book, you know, The Millionaire Fastlane, is to stop chasing money and to start chasing needs. All right, let me repeat that. Stop chasing money, start chasing needs. How can you improve on something and make something better? How can you solve a particular need? What assets are you bringing to the community? If there's not a genuine need in the marketplace, then it doesn't matter how good you are or how awesome your product or service is, all right? If you're a great martial artist and you want to open up a martial arts studio, make sure that where you open up, people actually like martial arts. Don't open up a hip hop store in the middle of old white suburbia. It makes sense, all right? Make sure that whatever you're going to do satisfies the need. In other words, be really useful. So the way to make a lot of money being useful is to have a passion. So instead of simply focusing on doing what you love, all right, focus more on generating a passion, a burning desire, and reasons why you're doing what you're doing, all right? It all starts with why. So if you only focus on doing what you love, that could be a little bit selfish. But if you have a passion and a reason why you're doing what you're doing that is greater than yourself, that can fuel you way more than just the fact that you love doing something. So connect to the bigger picture, you know, be like a light bulb. It doesn't turn on until it connects to the actual circuit and goes to the world. So connect into the bigger picture, passion for an end goal, a why that drives you to put in the work that you're going to need if you want to actually be like super wealthy. So remember that work is solving other people's problems. Solve other people's problems and you'll solve your own money problems. So what does it really take if you want to drive in the fast lane to wealth? All right, you have to be very disciplined with your finances. So that comes first. People who drive the fast lane get paid first and their taxes get paid last. So since the tax bills come in long after the money is earned, you have to be disciplined enough to put away money and to put away your money for the taxes and your expenses. And this is really, really big. So you also have to have a basic understanding of financial, you know, things, be financially literate, you know, things like interest rates, how to balance a checkbook, how stocks and bonds work, and all of that other stuff. So in order to actually, you know, ride the fast lane to wealth, basically, you have to educate yourself. And that was my review and my video on the Millionaire Fastlane by MJ Demarco. Go pick up a copy if you haven't already. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You're awesome. Stay awesome. I hope this video was very helpful. Talk to y'all later. Bye.